What do you recommend that the United States President do in response to Mr. Ahmadinejad's recent provocations in Lebanon, where again he threatened to wipe the Zionist organization entity off the map? And what should the U.S. Congress do immediately and long-term in terms of aid to Lebanon? Who's first?
I think I am. Am I, Jill?
Okay, you are.
The United States Congress has put on hold in the Foreign Operations Committee all aid to Lebanon right now. $100 million has been put on hold. And so, and I strongly agree that right now we should not be sending any money to Lebanon, that allowing Ahmadinejad, a Holocaust denier, someone who, well, we've talked so much about Iran, leading the effort to destroy and to talk about destroying Israel, for him to come to Lebanon, and the role now that Hezbollah, this is not just a radical terrorist group that's separate. This is now part of the infrastructure of the Lebanese government. And so it is right that we now cut off the aid to Lebanon. And that's exactly what we're doing. This is something, again, that we're monitoring very closely. We need to work with Israel to see what she needs in order to make sure that that border is completely secure. But you're not going to see any dollars from the United States going to Lebanon while this threat seems to be enlarging, and while the relationship between Ahmadinejad and Lebanon seems to be getting closer. And so I think that we're taking appropriate steps right now, and we're ready to work with Israel to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that that dangerous border is protected, and we don't get back to a situation of we know that there's 40,000 rockets right now in southern Lebanon that are near the border, and so we need to be prepared to come to the assistance of Israel in ways that she will let us know how we can be.
Joel.
One of the reasons this has happened is because the United States has not been strong enough in standing up for what was at one time a very vibrant pro-democracy, anti-Syria movement in Lebanon. At the moment, we've allowed Hezbollah to achieve a foothold in the Lebanese government. We've continued to provide aid even before this happened. We ought not to have done so. We've continued to allow the Lebanese government to function on an international level in the Security Council, for example, even though it is essentially controlled by a terrorist organization. The U.S. backed out of supporting the Lebanese movement, the Cedar Revolution as it was called, that erupted in the wake of the Iraq War. And instead of supporting those democratic movements, we reverted to the status quo of supporting the dictatorial regime in Syria and allowing Hezbollah to strengthen in Lebanon, which is why Ahmadinejad was able to go there undisturbed and openly and effectively announce his intentions on the border. We ought to go to the Security Council, of course, and pass a binding Chapter 7 resolution against Iran, but also make it clear that there are military consequences. And we ought to make it clear for Iran immediately, as a response for this behavior, what those consequences are, and make it clear by moving aircraft carriers towards the region, and make it clear that there are consequences to pay for fomenting war in the Middle East, that we are there to stop Iran from doing what it wants to do. I want to add something about the Iraq War, and the rules of this forum don't allow me to address my opponent's position or things that she has said in previous answers. I'm aware she's breached those rules, and so I'm going to take the liberty, Rabbi, of just responding to something. If you can prove, Ms. Strakowski, that I enthusiastically supported the Iraq War, I will donate $2,400 to your campaign. When the Iraq War erupted,
Joel.
When the Iraq War erupted, I was 23 years old. I do think it was a wrong idea to pull out of Iraq, and reluctantly I thought it was the right idea to topple Saddam Hussein, and I believe the war was justified. But I did not enthusiastically support the Iraq War. I think that the danger that would have resulted if we had followed Ms. Strakowski's advice and immediately withdrawn is that Iraq would have devolved into civil war and possible genocide. We lost the opportunity, the momentum that toppling Saddam Hussein brought us in Lebanon and other countries. And I think we need to continue supporting democracies in the region for that purpose.